Hi, my name is Jared. I am a gay witch living in Rochester, New York, and I decided to make a video for YouTube. I've been thinking about this for a few years. I've actually been blogging at my site, The Musings of a Confused Man, which you can find, by the way, at musings.northerngrove.com for several years. And I've been watching YouTube videos and everything, and I thought, it might be fun to make my own. And I've played with it, and I haven't decided what I want to say. Well, today I decided that I knew what I wanted to say. It's actually thanks to my good friend Tracy, who is also a great blogger. She has a blog called On Holiday. There's a link on my blog to hers if you want to check it out. But she decided to post an article by Bob Barr. Earlier this week, Bob Barr decided to put in his 2 cents about the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs that decided to create a open circle outside for their pagan servicemen to celebrate their various rituals in. So Bob Barr decided to have his opinion, and I wanted to read part of that opinion to you now. This is Bob Barr's words, by the way. But I have to tell you, if I were in the Air Force and was being commanded by an officer who practices hedonism as a religion, another part of the definition of pagan, and who dances around a circle of stones in the woods carrying a lighted candle, I would be more than a little worried about following him into battle. I want to start out this video, this next section, by just saying to Bob Barr a simple message. Bob Barr, this message is for you. Grow up. I mean, come on, Bob. Your basic criticism isn't a criticism at all. It's mockery. Basically, what your argument boils down to is, they do weird things, they're different from me, so they're weird. Bob, that sort of thing was okay in high school. That sort of thing was okay back when you were running for prom king or senior class president. It's not okay for a politician who just recently tried a bid for the U.S. presidency under the Libertarian Party. So, Bob Barr, please, do all of your voters a favor and grow up. Quit acting like a high schooler. Anyways, now that we're past that, let's go on to the whole talk about hedonism, because this is a topic that is very important to me. Surprise, surprise, I'm a devotee of Freya. You worship a goddess like Freya, and you're bound to enjoy hedonism. You're bound to enjoy your pleasures. It's simple as that. But I think that hedonism gets some undue criticism. To a degree. Everyone looks at hedonism and says, oh, it's a bad thing, it's a bad thing. Well, no, the problem is not hedonism. The problem is hedonism living in a vacuum without any other virtues. Most people think of hedonism of, oh, you're just out for your own pleasure, you're just out being selfish and everything. And yes, I'll be the first to admit there are people like that. There are people who are selfish prats, and they should just go away and quit giving the rest of us hedonists a bad name. But the thing is let's face it, it's not the fault of the principle of hedonism. Any virtue, and yes, I do consider hedonism a virtue, can be taken too far. Any virtue that is devoid and held in isolation from all other virtues can turn into a bad thing. I don't care what virtue you're talking about. If it's not mitigated with other virtues, it's going to turn into a bad thing. I think part of the problem, too, with hedonism is that most people think of hedonism as, being selfish, and, there's such a thing as, mutual pleasure. In fact, there's some wonderful thing about enjoying another person's pleasure and making sure they're happy. There's a certain pleasure in that. As an example, I would give the fact of one of my most memorable Christmas moments. This happened over a decade ago. My niece, my sister's oldest daughter, was about 2 at the time. And this was at a time when Disney's The Little Mermaid came back out. It was re-released into theaters. So, there was all sorts of, Little Mermaid merchandise. And, so I was Christmas shopping, and I found this wonderful stuffed flounder, the character from the movie. And, this was just a wonderful thing. It was, a plush toy. And I think from nose to tail fin, it was between 3 and 4 foot long. I had to get it for Alyssa, so I got it for Alyssa. Christmas Eve comes along, and we're at my parents' house, and everyone's eating. And, my sister decides, well, maybe Alyssa can open one gift tonight. You know how that is. No one wants to wait when they're a little kid until Christmas to open gifts. I was the same way. So they decided, well, they can open one gift. And I looked at Stephanie, and we agreed that we would let Alyssa open my gift to her. So I go out, and I get it, and I bring in this huge package, and I give it to Alyssa. And she opens it up. And this little girl starts shrieking, and that's all we heard for the next 5 minutes is, he's so cute! But let me tell you, that was one of my most memorable moments that Christmas and every Christmas since. Because to me, that is a pleasure. Watching the smile and excitement of a little child, get so excited over something so simple. And that's my thing. Hedonism is about all of life's pleasures. So like I said, it's not a bad thing. It's a great thing, as long as it's mitigated and joined with other virtues. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this talk, and I hope to do more in the future. Again, my site, for those who are interested, my blog is The Musings of a Confused Man, and that can be found at musings.northerngrove.com. Thanks a lot.